Welcome to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I'm your host, Patty Lynch. Have you ever seen an amazing shuffler at a show or festival and wondered, how did they get started? How did they develop their skills? And who are they beyond the dance floor? Well, that's exactly what we're exploring in this show. We'll dive into the personal experiences of the dancers that make up our beloved community. We'll be learning more about who they are and what makes this dance so special to them. So, with that, let's jump into the show and let's get curious together. This is episode 23 of the Shuffle Curious podcast, featuring Reina Almendarez, one of the community leaders of the DFW Shufflers. I hope you guys enjoy. Reina, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. All is well. It's a pleasure having you on the podcast, but just also here in Denver with your friend Jennifer as well, who's in the room with us. And it's very cool. We kind of have had like a roundabout way of getting to this point, right?
Yeah.
You know, I had initially met you at a movement, and kind of you first approached me. I remembered it. And because you had listened to one of my mixes online that I put out on SoundCloud. And I remember it kind of gave me recall, right? You know, I remember you reaching out and being like, that was fire. You know what I mean? Like, that was dope. And then you paid that compliment to me again as we met at Movement. And so already I was like, I had the warm and fuzzies, you know what I mean? Like, it was super cool that you remembered, you know, my face and all those things. And that you just came up and said, what's up, you know, before you really knew me. So obviously we spent those days in Movement. That was an amazing experience for me. I'm sure you can attest to the same thing. It was pretty solid. Very good techno, a very good showing of the shuffle community too, you know. And then after that, I don't know if you mentioned that you would have been at ShuffleCon at that time, but we then saw each other again at ShuffleCon in LA, hosted by FTS, of course, the first one. And that was fun too. Like, we were just vibing, we were just picking up where we had left off. Yeah. And throughout that time, I had, you know, mentioned the podcast and also, you know, my whereabouts, like that I'm from Denver. And then, you know, while we were there, you're like, oh, wait, I'm going to be in Denver, you know, next weekend to see Millennium. Mm-hmm. And so that was like the perfect opportunity for us to link up and to spend some more time with one another. And so we were able to hit the church nightclub on Friday that was a vibe for Eli Brown. And we were packed like sardines, but we were keeping our real estate. We were keeping our turf. I think we were doing all right. We had many shufflers to be able to hold down the fort as we were grooving and whatnot. And so thank you, ladies, for that. You contributed in the effort. And then, I'm hearing that you guys had a great time at Millennium as well. Maybe headbanging a little bit too hard.
Might have broken something.
Got it. And we're going to sesh today too. We're going to head over to the infamous Cheeseman Park Pavilion. And is it your guys' first time going to be there?
Thank you, first off. It's the same spot where you guys always have the sessions at, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. It looks really nice. I'm excited.
Dope.
Yeah.
I think you guys will really enjoy it. It's got an amazing aesthetic. The floor. Some people have diverse opinions about the floors. Some think that they're too slippery.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it too.
I'll do fine.
I think when you kind of calibrate yourself to it and you know what it's all about, you can sometimes do moves that you weren't able to do before.
Exactly.
Just knowing how you'll slide and slip and all these things. So super excited for that. Hopefully we get a little homie group that will join us. But I'm down to sesh with y'all just to laugh and hang out. So it'll be a lot of fun. But enough about how we met and, you know, the numerous times that we've crossed paths during these past couple months. Let's get into your background a little bit. So if you could just tell everyone what your name is. I know I already mentioned it, but also where you're from, and I'll have some follow-on questions as well.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Reina. I'm from Dallas area in Texas. Grew up there, born, raised. Yeah, that's where I'm from.
Awesome.
That's me.
And you hang out with like the DFW collective out there, right? Okay.
Yeah, we got a pretty good group out there. I would say it's grown a lot too from like since I like became part of the community. I feel like it's grown a lot more.
Got it. No, that's awesome. For the audience, just to get a little bit more about just you as a person, I always like to ask, how were you as a child? You know, whether that's disposition or your temperament or just overall your personality.
So I am a middle child. I feel like that gives people always a good idea of how someone is.
Same, I am too.
Yeah, so that, and how was I? I feel like I was pretty good kid. Always active, doing things, sports, the whole 9 yards.
Got it. What sports did you play?
So I did, I was on a team in my little town, like a swimming team. I golfed a little bit, dabbled in that. I rock climbed. I actually did like competitive rock climbing, which was fun. And what else did I do? Soccer. I did gymnastics. I'm missing something. I feel like I'm missing something. But yeah, I mean, I did a lot of stuff. I danced. I did dance, actually.
So a little bit of dance experience.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah.
Got it.
I did some ballet, contemporary, jazz, tap. Yeah. But at the time, I didn't really, it was just like an activity to do as a kid. I feel like I didn't really enjoy it as much as a kid. It was just kind of like something to do.
You were like forced to by
your
way,
parents. Sort of, but like not really. It was like, I guess I did want to, but it's like I didn't feel passionate about it, if that makes sense. And then I would be nervous to perform whenever we did like big like shows or like showcases.
Got it.
For like an audience, but yeah.
Yeah. I always ask because, especially the sports question, because I feel like shufflers are always, either on the other side of like a sports career or they dabble, sports were their hobby for the longest time until, and, maybe they still have those, you know what I mean, off to the side. And they very much enjoy, those hobbies that they used to have, but then like shuffling kind of came in and took its place, or has made all kinds of like sports endeavors kind of obsolete because they found something that's kept them in shape, in a social circle, you know what I mean? Being able to make meaningful connections with people while they're staying active and enjoying music and things of that nature. So I always want to know, who has like who played sports, because typically it's like 100% of them, you know what I mean? Shufflers who now take it seriously now, they usually had a past life as an athlete. So very cool to hear about. So I know that, you haven't been shuffling for all of your life. Like it seems like it's been an endeavor that you've taken on in the past couple of years. When did you start shuffling? I guess how long has it been that you've been on this journey? And also, what was life like before shuffling? What kind of led you into embarking on this kind of journey?
Yeah. So I started in 2018. I would say I can't remember what month it was, but like 2018 was the year I jumped into it, and I think I found shuffling and or saw it for the first time in 2016, because that was like my first like big EDM festival. I did Something Wonderful, if anyone's familiar with that, over in Dallas, so that was fun. And yeah, what was life before? That was the question, right? Life before shuffling, school, work, the I lost my train of thought first.
That's it. Just like the typical stuff. I mean, so like, were you getting out of college or?
Yeah. So I was actually in college for a little bit, and then I was like, this is not for me. I'm going to go to real estate school. So I did that. Don't have my license, but I did the schooling. So that was interesting and fun. Met a lot of people doing that. And that was kind of my life before.
Got it. And so at what point, at what point did you see shuffling and you knew that it was something, like maybe you'd seen it before, but what was the point in time where you saw it and you knew that it was something that you kind of wanted to lean into and start learning?
After going to multiple festivals, I was like, okay, I'm starting to see this way more. Like, what is this? And then it was on social media a lot more. I feel like it started blowing up like probably 2017 for me. Like I was like kind of dabbled in it, trying to learn on my own because I didn't, at the time, I wasn't connected to the community or I didn't know anyone that did it besides like one other friend because we wanted to kind of learn it together. And that was like he was like part of my rave group at the time. So yeah, kind of self-taught myself. And then 2017, I was like, okay, let's try this. Let's see if I can do it. Let's try to learn the Running Man. Let's see if we can do this. And then I stopped because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. This is way harder than it like people make it look. So
what resources were you using to learn? Yeah, was it mostly online or?
Yeah, so Instagram, YouTube, and then whenever I would see people at like shows or festivals, I'm like, that looks awesome. I would try to connect with them, and that's kind of how I found the DFW group too. Just like being out and mingling.
Got it. So it's cool that you had a little bit of like a buddy system. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was like me and one other buddy, and he was like, we should learn this. Let's like learn it, you know? So yeah.
Doing it together. And we were talking a little bit about this before we went on air, just with like accountability measures for yourself. Like when you are starting to learn, there's all types of learners out there, and especially as it pertains to this dance. Some people are very much just like self-starters, and they'll just go and they will find every opportunity just to learn on their own. But then there's others that need to be kind of held accountable either to a class setting or for structure, you know what I mean? Or to other people like in a social environment. And that's all good. Like any of those are good. It's just like you need to know who you are and how you're best going to learn, and to place those measures in your environment for you, you know, so that if it's something that you want to, you know, really dive deep into and whatnot. What do you think were the reasons that you kind of took a hiatus or you stopped, you know, the progression that you had going? And how long were you in the process of learning the dance before you were like, I don't know, you know, like you started to have apprehension about continuing?
I think it was only a few months. I was not graceful with myself. Because a few months, like, I mean, yeah, if you're working at it maybe like every day or you're really putting in the hours, then yeah, sure, you can learn it, but I wasn't doing that.
Okay.
So like, I think that was a factor. And then just like I was telling you earlier, it's a learning process. You got to put in the time and the work, and you have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to just put your mind to it, be determined to like want to learn it. And then, persistent. Yeah. Persistent would be a good word for that. Yeah. Got it. So yeah, a few months. And then like around 2018, I was like, okay, I really want to learn this. Let's do this for real. Let's put in the work and the hours. And at that time I had time. Yeah. Okay. So life was just kind of busy whenever I was trying to learn it at like the beginning.
At what point did you feel comfortable jumping back in after that period of time where you were kind of in a lull? And what triggered it? You said that I think if I heard correctly, you met your local community and that was kind of like a jump start.
Yeah, so I met my community in 2021. So only a few years now. Before that, it was just me, my buddy, in our like small rave group. And at the time, it was just like me learning on my own and basically dancing on my own in a way. And with my buddy when he would be there, right, at shows or festivals. And then, I'd see people at shows and festivals too doing it. And I'm like, this is cool. Like, this is like, it was kind of like almost at that point, it wasn't really known. And even now, still people are learning about it and or don't know about it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still very much a dance that's growing. It's becoming more well known. It's progressing just in the culture. It's not as established as breaking and hip hop and things like that. So it's honestly a cool little niche dance to be able to perform, especially to EDM, because it's you can, of course, there's many ways to dance to EDM, but like there's just something about shuffling, just hitting every beat, you know what I mean? Or being able to hit, or the premise of the dance is to hit, every beat. Obviously you can decide how you want to go about that, however you'd like, but there's an allure to that,
Sure.
To be able to express yourself in that way. And especially since it's not well known, you know what I mean? You're very much like a curiosity in those environments,
exactly.
when especially when you do it well, you know what I mean? And you wear it well. So, so with that, when you were learning, and even with the hiatuses and things of that nature, how were you going about this process? I am curious about this. Like, was it dedicated practice every day when you were committing to it? Was it more just like after a workout or something like that? Or were you like on YouTube and then like in front of a mirror as well? Like what?
That's exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. It's funny because like I used to have this mirror that would hang behind my closet door, like those single mirrors, like the body mirrors.
Yeah, like the $15 ones at Walmart.
I have a video saved like on my Snapchat, I think, and it's just me outside. I brought it outside to my backyard, and I had my phone popped up with a YouTube video, I think, and I was like trying to learn. I don't even remember what I was trying to learn. I think it was the Charleston at the time, probably.
Yeah.
And I was like, yep, I'm really doing this, really really trying to figure this out. Fun time.
Got it. And that was just rinse and repeat pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
Each day.
Yeah, I would say I probably did a couple days out of the week. Not every day, but a couple days out of the week I would be trying to learn.
Got it. By any means possible. That's hard when you're doing it on your own too.
Yeah.
And like you don't have someone to converse with and get feedback from. I do feel like, it might take a little bit longer, but at the same time, like you now have a whole community around you. You found that you found your love for the dance, and then it brought you to the community, and like now you're exposed and you have access to people who can be that sounding board, and then you're probably becoming a sounding board to others now as well, and that's just like how we all grow. So with that, could you just talk to me a little bit about like your progression with your local community, how y'all first met, how it's kind of spiraled up from there? Because I've gotten a couple of like your anecdotes and how much it's meant in your shuffle journey, being able to link up with the DFW crew. What is our formal name?
DFW Shufflers.
DFW Shufflers. Got it. And Technified Will is one of the yeah, he's super cool too. I met him for the first time at Movement as well, but we've been conversing over Instagram and stuff like that. So he's just one of those people. When I first met him, I was like, all right, we're gonna vibe.
I love that.
Yeah, but sorry to sidetrack. Yeah, meeting your local community and kind of how it's progressed from like day one.
Yeah.
Up until now.
yeah, so 2018, like I said, kind of just was dancing on my own, and then met them in 2021. Also want to mention and say, in 2018, I feel like it helped a lot that I was going to a lot of like shows with my group. That helped me practice way more too. Because when you're out in like a social setting, you're listening to the music live, you're dancing. So that helped a lot with my progress. I feel like there's a lot more room for growth, obviously. But anyways, so 2018, 2021, I met them through a friend of mine actually brought me to this meet because she knew somebody at this meetup. And so that's kind of how I met Sarah, and I don't think Will was at this one. So I met Sarah, became really good friends. We went to a show together, literally, I think like a couple days later. And then we went to Austin together, and we went to the Austin meetup. So that was fun. And it was like the Austin meetup before Seismic, I think. So like everyone was in town.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to like meet a lot of people. And then after that, I feel like I dove deeper into my practice and like wanting to learn more, because it always helps like when we're seshing, you know, you're feeding off of people's energy, and you're also like looking at what they're doing, like, oh, that looks cool, let me try that. Like, let me practice that on my own, and or practice it with them and get ideas in that way. So yeah, I lost train of thought.
Yeah, so no, seshing with them, going to the meetups, going to events that they would be at, getting FaceTime with all of them, being able to like get the feedback from them and have that energy exchange that definitely facilitates like just getting better at the dance, but also like the social connections that you're making and things like that. So from that point, you know, you said you met them in 2021. I guess like what was the lead up until now? Like, what is your, you know, what's kind of your spot in the group? Do you guys have any like plans for the future? Any like what's the cadence of meetups or different events, like things of that nature? A little bit of a vague question, but I just want to know what you guys are up to.
So we are trying to be steady with the meetups, like at least twice a month. Like 2 meetups, maybe a class, dabbled here and there, trying to keep it pretty active, because I feel like, for me at least, I look forward to them. I look forward to being with my friends and vibing out, having a good time. It's a good way to just kind of like step away from, you know, your everyday life and just go have some fun. So yeah. But yeah, meetups, at least two meetups, classes. I feel good about where we're heading. It's well on its way.
Got it. And
it's grown a lot. So.
Are you organizing these meetups or helping out in that regard?
I'm the admin with it's me, Will, and Sarah. Okay. And Alyssa.
Gotcha. So you guys are behind the curtains, making sure everything is squared away.
In our little group message, trying to like figure things out.
Coordinate everything. Yeah. Got it. I feel like it's very rewarding, you know, once you kind of take on that role or take on more responsibilities around, you know, or organizing around shuffling, essentially, whether that be just giving, you know, an opportunity for people to kind of just dance in a safe, judge-free environment, providing music, you know, providing, just that environment in general, maybe even events, or also connecting people to other events that there might be other shufflers, you know, attending and of that nature. I think it becomes rewarding in its own right. It's not just that dopamine hit of you hitting a new move anymore. You know, it's like, okay, there's people who are conjuring around this dance, and you see all the smiley faces out there from the work that you've done, you know what I mean? Or at least that you've contributed towards to put whatever on or to direct people in the right way. I think that becomes a joy within itself. But it's outside of the dance more, you know what I mean? Like the coordination of logistics and who needs to be where and who's got these certain roles. At the end of the day, it's I feel like it's just as fun, as the dance, because like now you're allowing everyone to kind of share it with one another. Because without that, we're all just a bunch of individuals, right? And we know how lonely that can get, shuffling on our own for a prolonged period of time, and kind of like the bouts of less motivation, more motivation, less inspiration, things of that nature. But when you just get around people who are all on the same wavelength, it can prop you up in ways that you didn't even expect, or that you didn't even know you needed, So in the organizational realm, I am finding that to be very rewarding, just as rewarding as the dance. And I'm sure, you've gotten a glimpse of that as well.
It's a lot of fun. It really is to be able to put it all together and then see it come to life is fun.
Yeah. It's like you're the architect of this, how everything's going to go down, and you get a good say, and you can read people's preferences and like implement things.
For
and
sure.
See what the demand is with your local community, and throw things in there that will serve like the people that you're really trying to lead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're a leader in that sense, because you are kind of calling the shots. As to how a meetup is going to go, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to get feedback from people and try and like implement things to get better. So very cool. With that, like, is there any other experiences that you've had, throughout your journey? Whether like you obviously connected with your local community, and but you've been going to shows ever since, and like that's how kind of you got linked up with shuffling and being exposed. Are there any other of like, whether that be events or shows or meetups or things like that were a pivotal point, in your shuffling career?
That's a good question. I don't think there's been a huge one. I would say just continuously going to meetups and like meeting people that way, and like the Austin meetup being basically my first like meetup, a real one. I feel like a bigger one, because the one that I went to first was like kind of small, more intimate gathering. There was maybe like 10 people there, if that, which was nice because like I got to talk and meet that smaller.
Be in a more intimate environment.
For it being my first one, I feel like it was more calming and not as like nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
And then going to that one in Austin really opened my eyes. I'm like, wow, there's a whole lot of people here. Okay. But yeah, so that was really cool. Opened my eyes to that. I feel like that was pretty pivotal moment. And then coming back here, or like going back to Dallas, like being surrounded by my community, I was like, okay, I like this. I'm gonna start going to these a lot more, and then got really close with a lot of the people that put it on, and met some of my best friends within it. So
yeah. Did you come back from Austin with like some ideas for more of like the DFW shufflers or anything like that? Because I always find when I go to either other meetups or like ShuffleCon, for example, like now my head's spinning about like, okay, like you don't just have to do a battle anymore. Like you can throw an event that has party time afterwards, showcases. You can make it more more shuffling for just like the general population.
Yeah.
And then also more opportunities for people to connect with one another. It's not all about the battle. So it's like, that's a great idea. You know what I mean? It's a great idea. Maybe it can be implemented in something that we do here in Denver or like wherever else. Like, do you ever find that you visited like another scene and have brought back like something cool from it that you could then implement in your own scene?
Yeah, sure. Like I fully agree with you. Like going to see other places and or just traveling in general, like traveling is just good for the soul, right?
Mm-hmm,
but like it always opens your mind to bigger and better ideas or more ideas. Like you said with the battles, like how there was like booths set up, like it was like literally it was a convention. Like it was a whole different thing. It wasn't just about that one thing. I mean, yeah, it was about dance, of course, but like about shuffling. But it's nice that like to have a bigger idea of things to do.
Like a larger, I guess, appreciation for what else could be added. Yeah, and it's like it doesn't mean like you have to like copy and paste.
Right.
You know, it's like
make it your own.
Exactly, and then also get feedback from your fam and like your dance fam and like how what they would appreciate with like that new idea,
right.
and how to go about it. And I'm always inspired when I travel, even if it's just for a festival. But when I'm around a bunch of shufflers, really is the common denominator there. And then coming back, it's either I have new ideas, new inspiration for me to dig deeper into the dance itself, look into other music, all those things. I can't really estimate or determine like what it's going to be, like what I'm going to feel like, or how the energy is going to be allocated once I'm done in that environment. Sometimes it's like, okay, I'm going to dance every single night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm on a streak right now because ShuffleCon really got me hyped about just dancing and improving my dance. So I was like seshing every night. But sometimes it's like I have an idea. I have an idea for, like when I went to Dream State, I really started to consider the podcast thing because I was in awe of all the shufflers there and how they were connecting with one another. And so it's like I don't decide where the inspiration comes from or like what it makes me do after the fact, but it does something.
It finds you. Yeah. Wait, so Dream State was your first one last year?
Yeah, that was my first Dream State.
Yeah, same.
Got it.
Yeah.
You were there?
Oh yeah.
Oh, very well. Damn.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were okay. Cool.
And I will be there this year for sure. It is my buddy JT's 30th birthday in that realm. So yeah,
that's perfect.
We're gonna go big. We're still not sure if it's gonna be Long Beach or San Bernardino because there's like they're not sure which way it's gonna go.
Yeah.
So we'd love to see you there though.
I hope I can make it out. Yeah, we'll see.
Got it.
We shall see.
Got it. Yeah.
I really want to do Seismic because the lineup just dropped and it's really good.
So it is super good, but like I wouldn't want to experience both of those and to be tired from one or the other and then have it be less of an experience for the other one. Maybe I'm just like, I don't know. That's not a good belief to have because I'm sure I'd have fun with both of them. But I wouldn't want one to be diluted by the other, essentially.
Sure. Yeah, I did back-to-back last year.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Were you one of the people who got sick?
I did.
Oh, yeah, see, like, that's my concern. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know it was probably worth it.
No, it was so worth it. I was just a little bit ill at Thanksgiving, but it's fine.
I
got through it.
Got it. No, you're a real one. You're a real one for attending both. That's awesome. We'll see because there are some friends here who will be sending Seismic. But yeah, once that lineup dropped, I was like, you gotta be kidding. I thought this was gonna be easy.
Right. No, I'm like in a tug of war right now. I'm like, okay, if I do that again this year, like, really got to be on my health, like, making sure I'm good because it's a toll. I mean. 2 days, or they're both 3 days actually, right? No, Dream State's 2.
Dream State's 2. Right. Seismic is 3.
Yeah. But still, 5 days is a lot of days.
Yeah.
It adds up.
Yeah, and it's like if you think about it, I mean, it's within a 10-day time span, or span of time in which you're doing 5 days of festivaling. You know what I mean? Like literally, that's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. God bless all the people at E-Forest doing that thing. That's 4 days, right?
I think so, yeah.
I have not been yet.
Me
but
either,
like,
I want to go really bad.
Same. I heard it's a grind, but I heard it's good. Like,
Yeah.
it's really good.
It's worth it.
So, got it. Well, so throughout your journey, I'll just kind of pull us back into like this timeline that we have going. We've got some tangents going, which is very much encouraged. But throughout, this journey of yours, how have you felt shuffling has really transformed you? Like, what have you valued from what you've learned, what you've gathered from embarking on a shuffle journey?
I feel and think that it has helped me a lot in my mental health. Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, that's it.
I can attest to that too.
Yeah, definitely. I've always loved working out in general, and then adding this to like my workout regimen, as I would say, I guess, has been really fun to like try to figure out a good balance of like, okay, if I'm doing legs this day, I can't shuffle today, or can I? Like, how hard did I do on legs today? Can I?
Just need to get a little warmed up. You'll be all right.
Exactly. But yeah, so I feel like it's helped a lot with mental health and just like a good release of just like energy and stuff. That sometimes life and stress can bring on.
I can definitely relate. I mean, for just speaking for myself, when I started shuffling, I was still in a pretty high stress job. I was still in the military at that time. I started in October of 2020, and I didn't get out until May of 2021. And throughout that time that I was just exploring the dance and really trying to lean into it. I was a lone shuffler at that time. It was one of the best feelings to come home from work, just to put on my sneakers and just to sesh, you know what I mean? Just to like let it go. And whatever rigors of the day or preoccupations of the day were just like in my head. That was kind of a time for me to come to grips with it and to come to peace with it as well. And all of those instances over time, I think just created a healthy regimen for myself. You know what I mean? And not to say that working out, whether that be weightlifting or some of the other things that, I was doing at that time, didn't help, but it was the fact that shuffling was coupled with physical exercise and then a creative outlet as well. And I think both of those together is just like a new formulation for as like an antidepressant, as like an anti-anxiety, as all these things that kind of like recalibrate you. If you have one and not the other, I think it's still doing a lot for you. But having them both in this, in that, I feel like it's like a pill you can swallow.
Yeah.
Like a shuffle session is like
seriously.
a pill you can swallow.
It's the cure. Just like music is. It's all good medicine.
And honestly, that's a reminder for me to, if I feel any kind of reservation or I'm not getting to yes by convincing myself that I need a session. I know that when I'm in the moment and I'm doing it, I will, and then afterwards I will feel better for it because I'll be taking that metaphorical pill. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
and I'll be in a different state of mind, especially if like I do feel like I need to move my body. So I feel like I can very much relate to the mental health aspect of it, and I think there's a spectrum to that, of course. Like I think there's many people who are clinically diagnosed with some things that that shuffling can help them with, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Outside of prescription and things like that, maybe it should be coupled with that as well. But I think, we're a lot of, in the shuffle community, we're a lot of like creatives, and, we sense and we feel, I think more so than a lot of the rest of the demographic. And that opens up a lot of vulnerabilities in our mental health. It also makes us amazing at what we do,
Right.
of course. But so I say all that to say that I think it's pretty good divine intervention when we find this dance, and it helps us with our day-to-day life as well.
Yeah,
So
for sure. I've definitely had my sessions where I'm like crying at the end. I don't know, but it's that outlet for me sometimes. So
you were probably listening to trance. That's probably why.
probably that sounds about right. Yeah, definitely.
I'm right there with you. Awesome. Well, I think we're gonna wrap up here soon. I've had an amazing time talking with you. I know we want to sesh. I know we want to get out there. We'll actually be there at the perfect time because like the sun will be more or less setting, and like that's like the golden hour at Cheeseman Park Pavilion. So we don't want to miss that. But so we're gonna move into the final 5, and these are the 5 questions that I ask all shufflers on the podcast. And it's just to get to know you a little bit more before we part ways. And so hopefully the audience can pick up a couple things from you before we go ahead and do that. So the first question that I have for you: what is your favorite musical genre?
Favorite musical genre. So I'm about to give you a little backstory.
Send it.
Always been music, love, like, right? Was like my first concert is funny because like I was like 12. Why was I allowed to go to this concert? But
Did you have a chaperone? Was anyone watching you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I did actually. It was the Black Eyed Peas and the Pussycat Dolls.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, I know what era this is.
Yeah.
I watched VH1 before going to school. Like.
Yeah. So my range of music is everywhere. Pretty much like everything.
Okay.
But as far as like EDM, like that was the question, right? Like electronic music.
No, it can be anything. Like I literally had Brent on. You met Brent at Movement, right? Big guy.
I think I did.
He's in bulking season right now.
Okay.
But he was crumping. Yeah. Big guy. But he loves indie music. So he was like, indie.
Nice.
Hands down.
Hell yeah, for him. I would say my favorite that I probably listen to like more on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give you 2 actually. We'll do trance and we'll do techno.
Okay.
That's more of like everyday type of thing. But I listen to rap and I listen to alternative. I listen to pretty much everything.
You're a connoisseur
Yes.
of sorts. Got it.
Just like music, yeah.
Understood.
Like favorite alternative bands, probably the 1975. Yeah.
Got it. Shout out.
Wide range. Yeah.
Next question for you. What is your favorite place to dance?
Favorite place to dance. Most comfortable place to dance, probably my backyard.
Okay.
That's like for sure. I would say that's my favorite place
Okay.
right now.
Just because of comfortability, familiarity, more.
Like I can turn the music all the way up. It's just, it's my space.
Got it. Cool. Sometimes that's where the juices start flowing.
Oh yeah. I mean, those living room sessions are good too. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'd say those 2 probably.
We just got this carpet here, so I'm very
It looks
inclined
nice.
to
Honestly, before we leave, I'm probably gonna rock a little bit.
do it. I also there's like a foam board over there. I don't know if you can see it leaning up against the wall, but we had to put that down with mats underneath it because of the downstairs
Noise
neighbors.
complaints.
Yeah. Running Mans were a little bit too thick. You know what I mean?
We're stomping away.
Yep, exactly. Like we had a rule here for a second because we have a little DJ setup and whatnot.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, T-steps only, and make them crisp. Like,
Exactly.
So no Running Mans, but we're making it work. And we're gonna be dancing out there. When the weather is already pretty nice, but we haven't had like a full-on function here yet. So we'll probably be dancing out on the balcony. So cool. Next question for you: what is your favorite set, show, or festival that you've attended?
Hit me with the tough ones. Favorite. I'm gonna say favorite show that I went to this year was the Nikki.
Got it.
Amazing. Everyone was there. We had entire DFW squad in there. we were rolling real deep.
Hell yeah. Those are always the best.
Yeah, when everyone's there, I'm like, yeah, okay. You know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, the homie lineup is thick. Like, you'll be all right.
Music was on point. He was throwing bangers back to back. It was great. So yeah, favorite show this year. Favorite festival last year, probably. Yeah, let's do last year. God, they were all so good. I did a lot of new ones last year. I did Buku, Global Dance. I think it was last year or the year before. Maybe I did Buku. But anyways, Global Dance, Dream State. I think those were maybe the only two. I had one more. I'm losing my train of thought. But let's go with
Dream State.
Yeah. Good answer.
Same.
Yeah.
Well, let us know when you're back at Global, because obviously Mile High will be here.
Yeah. Are you going this year?
No, I won't be. I won't be able to. Second year in a row that I've missed.
That you missed it.
Global, because I was traveling and stuff like that. So
other stuff.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
But I will get there eventually, for sure. Next question for you. What is your favorite book?
I feel like I've read a lot of self-improvement books that have been good. I don't have a God, what was the name of it? The Happiness Project, I believe was the name. I don't remember the author.
Okay.
That one's really good. But I also like romance novels, so.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What's your favorite romance? Yeah.
Oh gosh, okay. Why am I going blank? And she's like so popular right now too.
Is it Pride and Prejudice or any of those?
No.
Or
it's the girl author. Thank you, Colleen Hoover.
Jennifer for the win up in here.
Yeah, buddy. She's that girl. She has those books. She's an amazing writer. She's good. Probably favorite book by her. I think the first one I read was Ugly Love or something like that. It was really good.
Why do you like them? Like what's the allure for you?
I'm a visual person, so whenever I read, are you talking about the romance novel or like,
romance? Yeah, I mean either or. Yeah, just the why behind each of those.
Yeah, so I'm a visual person. I feel like whenever I'm reading something, I'm picturing it. It's kind of like when you see a movie the first time, like you're obviously like seeing it, but like reading is like you are able to create your own image in your mind.
Yeah.
Like the person could be completely different looking in your mind compared to like what you would see if you were reading the same book. Like you could be like, yeah, this person has like blonde hair, whatever, and like I'm picturing a brunette like person or like whatever. You know what I mean? Like you have your own.
You've constructed it yourself.
Yeah, your own interpretation of like how you think people look or like how the scenario is like rolling out or whatever the story is telling. And also I like try to get behind the author's image too. Like if it's a self-help book, I'm like, okay, where did this all like stem from? Or like, I'm trying to like, I think too much about stuff like that.
Yeah. It seems like it's a mental exercise for you that you enjoy doing, you know what I mean? From time and time again. So yeah, with me, if I need to visualize too much stuff, I'm like, just do it for me. Like I'm trying to watch a movie. Like I want to watch a movie on this. Like,
yeah, for sure.
But the self-help books, definitely, I like the practicality of them. I can take this bit of information and integrate it into my normal life. That's what is just like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Let's keep digging, that sort of thing. So
for sure. What's your favorite?
My favorite self-help book? I mean,
it's just book in general.
It's changed. Really, I think the book that changed the course of my life and the course of my belief systems. It's called The Millionaire Mind. Yeah, I forget what the author's name is.
Yeah.
But it basically gave. It had every chapter had two beliefs, and one was of someone who was in a scarcity mindset, mostly pertaining to personal finances, and then to someone who had an abundance mindset. And but always the abundance mindset had better money management skills. And yeah, like for example, the one lesson that he said, it's like, if you find a penny on the ground, pick it up. That's the universe, like increasing your net worth. You know what I mean? And don't scoff at it. You know what I mean? Yeah. No amount of money should be scoffed at. It should always be respected. And you know, people might have opinions about that, but as a 19-year-old reading that book, it changed the course of my life, because I wasn't even making large financial decisions at that time. And then, but once I had a good foundation after reading it, I was primed and able to make more serious financial decisions for myself, just based off of the paradigm that was set for me. So that has changed over time. There's more you know, mindfulness books that I'm into, but I'd say like that was the biggest pivot in, you know, in my own belief systems based off of that. So.
I like that. It's funny because my dad taught me that, like, growing up, and he's like, he does that and still does that, and so now I'm like,
yeah, that's only one lesson.
It's free money.
Yeah. That's only one lesson, but that's the one that really, you know, speaks. Yeah, exactly. Especially as like as an adolescent, that I saw my friends, like, once they bought something and they had like a dime and a penny, and they'd like throw it on the ground. It's like, yo, wait, what? What are you doing? yeah. And I thought that was like, oh, that's cool, but they don't need it. You know what I mean? Right. But it's like, nah, you know, like respect it to some degree. You know what I mean? Because it's your livelihood and things of that nature. So, because if you don't respect that, a small sum of money. And I know I'm going off on a tangent here.
No, go ahead.
If you don't respect a small sum of money, how are you going to then respect a large sum of money? You know what I mean? And a large sum of money can change the course of your life. It can become an income stream for you that, you know, might free up your time so that you can pursue your passions in the future.
Exactly.
So it's like all of it builds on itself.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just things that I've been considering for a very long period of time. So thank you for asking me that question. Yeah, no one asked me my own final five. I appreciate that. Yeah. And for you hearing my long-winded tangent around it. All right, I've got one more question for you.
Okay, hopefully I'm ready.
I think you will be. If you could put any message on the main stage production of a large-scale festival, let's just think EDC Las Vegas or Tomorrowland, what would it say? There's going to be thousands of people viewing this message.
You know, sometimes those messages that are put up on, you know, what do you call it? Like totems, like people's totems, are really funny, but like to have one on a big screen or everyone to see would be really cool. I feel like it's really cliche to say, like a lot of sayings are cliche, but probably I'm stumped.
You can pass on it. We can put it in the show notes.
We talked about it on the phone earlier. I'm trying to think what I was like. I had an idea and now it was.
It's all right.
Do you remember what I said?
I
feel like I had an idea. And you're like, oh, that's good. We can tie it.
Oh, you know, I was just kind of asking a little bit. It wasn't specifically for this question, but I was just asking, and you know, full disclosure, full transparency to the audience. Like I always ask the guests, like, hey, what would make this a win for you? You know what I mean? People come on the show for all types of reasons. You know what I mean? And it's not to really ask like what their agenda is. It's just like what would make this experience like the best for you. And so I asked you what would make this a win. And what you had said is that you would want to communicate that people should never stop learning. You know,
that's what it was.
You should always continue to be a student of whatever craft. I'm kind of I'm elaborating with my own words, of course, but like that was the vibe that I was getting from you. So is that what you want to say?
I think that's good. I think that's the one. Never stop learning.
Never stop learning.
Yeah, you stop learning, you're losing your curiosity, as you would say.
Let's go.
Yeah. And you got to keep the curiosity in life to keep it fun.
Got it. And I think at a setting like that in a music festival, it might hit people a little bit out of the blue, but I also feel like people are very open in those types of environments. Like there's already a sense of freedom and kind of letting go. And like when we're in those states of mind, I think we're very receptive to messaging like that. So awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
And thank you for priming my memory, as to what we talked about. Awesome. So with that, we are all done. But before we get out of here, is there anything that you'd like to tell the audience? Maybe something that we didn't talk about in our conversation that you'd like to bring up now? You're allowed to say no too.
Can't think of anything.
Got it.
Fun.
Yeah. No, this is a lot of fun. Thank you so much again for coming through and doing this. So I know that this conversation probably has resonated with a lot of people. Is there a good way for people to reach out after and, maybe to ask you more about your story, to elaborate on anything or just to connect?
Yeah, I feel like Instagram's good way for that. And if you see me in person, I can say what's up.
Of course. What's your Instagram handle? And I'll put it in the show notes as well.
Yeah. Make it rain trick. It.rain trick. I always tell people I'm not going to change it because nobody can take that. That's mine.
Yeah. Make someone else have like the underscore.
Yeah. You can have the extra additives.
You were there first.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. We have a sesh to get to, which I'm terribly excited about. It's going to be awesome. And I'm going to miss you guys. We have another sesh on Wednesday that I really wanted you guys to come to. But it's all good. You guys are heading back home.
Next time we will plan accordingly.
Yes, absolutely. So it was my pleasure. Thank you for coming through. Let's get to this sesh.
Let's go.
Thank you for listening to the Shuffle Curious podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the show so far. We are past the launch, and I'm so appreciative of the support that the show has received. You guys have really stepped up in a huge way, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I know this is a big ask due to the show just starting, and it's very much in its infancy, but any and all support would really be amazing from you guys. So I just wanted to come on and list a couple ways that you guys can help out the podcast moving forward. So first and foremost, subscribing to the YouTube channel would be a huge help. Also sharing and following the show on other social media platforms, such as Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but in particular, YouTube will really help increase the visibility of the show, and it can help to reach a wider audience as well. In addition to this, leaving a review on anywhere where podcasts are distributed, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, can really leave a positive impression on new listeners, and it will help them discover the podcast more readily. Also, engaging with the podcast, so leaving comments, participating in social media discussions, and just anything that would really help build a community around the podcast would be of great assistance. And please feel free, DM me my personal Instagram @PattyCreates or the show's Instagram at the Shuffle Curious podcast with the spaces being underscores. I would love to hear any feedback, any ideas, any discourse around the show. It would be an honor to hear you guys out and implement some of the ideas and the feedback that you guys have for me. Also, donating to the podcast directly or purchasing a Shuffle Curious shirt would help out a lot. There's a lot of time, there's a lot of energy, and unfortunately money that goes into the podcast, and it will continue to go into the podcast. So let's just get one thing straight here. It's really been a complete joy doing the show, and no matter how much or how little monetary assistance the show receives, we'll still be performing the mission of bringing the Shuffle community together. But with a little bit of help, I'll be able to travel more for these interviews, buy better equipment, be able to compensate all the amazing people who have made the show a reality and have volunteered their time, things of that nature. So buying a shirt would be much more than buying a shirt. And I don't know if you guys realize, but if I ever saw someone at a festival wearing a Shuffle Curious podcast shirt, you would be my best friend in a huge way. I'd love to see it, and I'd give you a big bear hug. So you can purchase these shirts on the Instagram bio of the show, also the show's website, and then I'll have links in the show notes as well. As for the donation, just please, send me a DM if you feel inclined to donate to the show. I will definitely entertain that, and if you're so inclined, that would be absolutely amazing. I'm not going to create a button for donating to the show or a GoFundMe or anything like that. It would just be a conversation between you and I. So, and I thank you for that consideration. But lastly, you guys have supported the show just by listening. Also listening to this whole outro, that's awesome. You guys rule for doing that. And I just cannot understate my appreciation for all of you guys, for being a part of this crazy ride that it's been so far. So without further ado, I wanted to get on. I'll give you guys a couple of ways that you can support. You can run with as many or as little of them as you would like, but I thank you, regardless for your listenership and support. So with that, I'm going to get out of here. Please get out there and dance, stay curious, and I will see you in the next episode, friend.